Jamie Vardy will be leaving Leicester City at the end of the season. And when that news broke, I think a lot of us have been looking back on his career in the Premier League very fondly, quite frankly. Premier League winner, of course, and a hatful of goals he scored for Leicester City. Today we're asking, is Jamie Vardy a Premier League great?
It's a big hat.
It's a huge hat.
Isn't it? All his goals in that one hat. That's a big hat.
It's a
to
huge
me,
hat.
A hat full of goals is like 8.
I think we're operating with different hats here.
Yeah, your hat's massive, obviously. And I've always said that about you, to be
Big
fair.
head, very big head. You can put a lot of goals in this hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's scored an absolute bag full, an absolute bathtub full of goals. Is Jamie Vardy scored for Leicester City?
A container full of goals.
144 of them.
Yeah, in the Premier League alone.
In the Premier League at the time of recording.
Yeah.
Same as Robin van Persie.
Yeah.
Robin van Persie needed a move to get a Premier League titles winners medal.
He did, actually, yeah.
Jamie Vardy didn't.
So I'll put him above Van Persie for that reason.
Do you think so, yeah?
The question is he a Premier League great? I think, actually, straight off the bat, first and foremost, if you are a talismanic part of the most incredible Premier League title win in history, I kind of feel like that gets you in the door automatically.
And he did win players. He did win Player of the Season as well.
He did, and I think you could probably extrapolate and say just because of what they did, that team, you argue put all of them in there. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about Vardy.
Get Danny Simpson in there.
Well, you picked him out.
I just don't remember him
Made
fondly that
a
season.
contribution.
I know he did. So I'm saying get him in there.
I think Vardy is clearly the totem of that title-winning season. He broke the record for the consecutive amount of games scored in as well, which I think that doesn't happen without being a genuinely great forward. There's no accident in that. You know, that to score in that many goals consecutively, take that record from such a good player as well, is definitely worthy of note. I think for what he represents and for what he's achieved and for how late he came into the Premier League, I think all those things need to be taken into account. Yeah. And I think you have to come down in the affirmative to answer the question and say yes, because it's not just the amount of goals, which is amazing. He's only got 12 or 13 players above him, and I'd be interested to see how many of those players came into the league at like 27 or whatever it was,
and played for a club which one year was battling relegation and then did go down eventually.
Exactly. Yeah. So he actually missed opportunity to score because obviously the season he's not in the Premier League. He's top scorer in the Championship. Yeah. Right.
For Leicester.
For Leicester. Yeah. So. For me, he has to be. And that's not just because of that. It's also because of here at the Ramble, what he's brought us. What he's brought us off the pitch as well. Oh, and that's a semi-serious point, and I'll tell you why. Because in football now, to be a top-level Premier League operator, a lot of people would argue you need to be single-minded, very focused. You have to remove any kind of distraction from your game and from your lifestyle, really. And Vardy's been a great throwback on that basis. You know, he's clearly someone who's got a personality, clearly someone who likes to live the way he likes to live. I'm not disrespecting him, but if he rips his top off, he doesn't look like Mo Salah. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like a middleweight boxer. You know?
I mean, he's obviously in very good nick.
Of course he is. You can't be operating at that level at 38 and not be in great nick.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Kane is obviously second in the charts. He's certainly not making admissions of putting Skittles in vodka.
He's not drinking that many Red Bulls either.
No, exactly, yeah. But I mean, Vardy, I agree with what you said there. He is a Premier League great for me. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
What are the main reasons for you?
So, as you say, leading that Leicester City team, I know people might say, well, hang on, Riyad Mahrez, you know, what a player he was. And, well, absolutely, Riyad Mahrez, yeah, fine. That's no reflection on him at all, you know, or any of the other players in that team. But I think if you think about that team, you think about Vardy. And the way that, as you say, he kind of led them. I mean, the title-winning party was at his house. Yeah. I think when, you know, for that team, when they look up front and they see absolute fearless goal-scoring striker, that gives everyone such an enormous boost. And I think for the goals he scored, the way he enjoyed his football, the way he celebrated it, there's a bit of the spirit of Ian Wright in him.
100%. 100%. Because he's basically the modern Ian Wright.
Yeah, because Ian Wright came into the Premier League quite late. He came into football late, as Vardy did. He gets his...
Both came into the second tier as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And Ian Wright, was he 28 or in his late 20s when he moved to Arsenal? Ian Wright is a Premier League great. Vardy scored more Premier League goals than Ian Wright, but I don't think we should compare them on that ground. It's, as I say, the more the essence or the character, if you like.
But I think they're a similar type of player as well.
Yeah, a shoulder of the last man, great finishers.
quick.
All that kind of stuff, yeah, just a nuisance for defenders and love to wind up defenders. Ian Wright loved to get in the ear of defenders, all that kind of stuff. Vardy as well. And they love to give it to the opposition fans too. And Vardy was great for that. As I say, one of the great characters of the Premier League, certainly in the modern era. You don't get as much of that now.
No.
Perhaps for those reasons about being focused and all the rest of it, as you say. But Vardy seemed to do it his way. That clearly he was very focused. You don't win a Premier League title winners medal if you're not focused, and of course FA Cup, but we're talking about Premier League. You don't do all that if you're not fully dedicated to what you're doing. But yet, to be able to lift your head up and look at those away fans, whether it's at Palace and do a flapping eagle celebration or howling at Wolves fans and all that kind of stuff, he played football the way he wanted to, and he wound up fans, which was clearly a want of his, you know. So he did all that, and yet posted great numbers, did great things, and was a part of a side who are now saying that he's the greatest Leicester City player of all time. Yeah,
he's not going to be the greatest Leicester City goal scorer of all time. He's some way off those numbers, but he is the best goal scorer in kind of modern era for them as well. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, the story is an incredible one as well. And I think you've got to embrace the story of Jamie Vardy and his origins if you're really going to fully appreciate what he went on to achieve. Because I think the difference between what makes him a kind of the streets won't forget type player, a meet you kind of thing, and the fact that he's a genuine great is because, of course, he won the league with an unfashionable side and the most incredible league title win that we've seen. But for him to go early on at Sheffield Wednesday and be released and find his way in the non-league through Stockbridge Park Steels, Halifax Town, and you clearly there's something in them there which shows that he can play at a higher level. But there's coming through the non-league and playing at a higher level, and you're a part of a national league side who do really well, so you get promoted to League Two, and then maybe even you get into the lower echelons of League One. That's incredible to do that. Yeah. For him to go from there to literally the top of the Premier League and have a Premier League winners medal is an unparalleled story.
And playing Champions League as well.
Out of the group stage. It's incredible how far he went. But over and above the story he's had, which can, in the wrong hands, come over as a bit patronising maybe because, you're kind of always in hock to where he came from, so you're kind of judging him a little bit more favourably. Should talk about some of his attributes as well, because he's clearly, on his day and his best seasons, a world-class finisher, clearly. I mean, the amount of goals he scored would suggest that. And he's done it at the very top level. He's done it in the Champions League as well. His ability to find space, his pace, and it's not. I know that there's certain elements of pace which are just like God-given, right? Yep. You're quick or you're not, but you have to work at it. You have to maintain it. You have to look after yourself in that way to make sure you don't get a huge amount of muscle injuries, for example. His confidence, unbreakable confidence, because that's really important, particularly for a goal scorer. Because how many times you see goal scorers go through droughts where they can't do much because their confidence is shattered? He always seemed pretty bulletproof on that front as well. I think all those things considered, you have to really consider him right up there. And not just because of his goal scoring, but just because of what he brought outside of that as well.
I think the confidence is a huge thing with Vardy. And that goes in to where he came from as a player, and that's where some of the Ian Wright comparison that we've made there comes into play, because the way they played the game, it was like, I'm going to play every game. Not like it's my last, but I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to drink in this every time I step.
Because I never thought this opportunity would come.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It didn't come through the academy and all that kind of stuff. And of course, if you did, you can still appreciate it. But their stories were different. And to look around and go, yeah, I'm going to give the crowd something to cheer about or silence them, whatever it was. I think that they had that perspective, perhaps. And Vardy, it showed.
Super competitor as well.
Oh, my goodness,
a really, really tough competitor.
Yeah.
You'd never look at him in his pomp. If things were going against Leicester, you never really felt like he wouldn't be dangerous. Like,
he always
if there's a chance, he could snaffle something.
Always stuck his chest out and was counted for. He never looked like he was shy or he was hiding or anything like that. As you say, it's the intensity and everything, and still doing it in his late 30s. And he's not retiring.
No,
he's just leaving Leicester. So where do we see him next season?
Well, I've got my doubts that he says he's got Premier League offers. I'm not sure where they would be, and I'm not sure if he will. I mean, I hope he continues as long as he wants to continue and as long as he can continue doing it. I'm sceptical about his ability to carry on in the Premier League. If he does do, I mean, he's going to go a couple more notches on the list of all-time scorers because he's quite close to a couple of others above him. To me, he's got Wrexham written all over him in terms of the story, in terms of the narrative. Down to the Championship with Wrexham, I could see that happening. I'd like him to go back to Sheffield Wednesday, rejected from there. Complete that circle from that part of the world. That would be a really nice ending. But I wouldn't write. I mean, I'm cynical about it, but I wouldn't write off him having another Indian summer at the age that he is at perhaps a less fancied Premier League club and giving some people some bloody noses all over the Premier League. That could happen.
Yeah, could help Man United out next season. Nice one, Luke. A nice one, Jamie Vardy. Do remember to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a video. And please like the video too.